let us all do we can to build a better future.
Yeah, so much like the last story where they're trying to just take down Black lives and, well, reassert the Democratic Party to its rightful height, they're also trying to tell us that Bernie and progressives didn't actually do all that much. Let's take a look.
Oh, boy.
Out to your state, North Dakota, reach out to that broad swath in the middle of the country that has gone deep red.
I'm going to give you a proof point for what Matt's just saying. 65% of the people in North Dakota think climate change is a problem. We're a big fossil state, we're a conservative state, but yet they see climate change as a problem. They get concerned when they see radical ideas being introduced to completely upend the energy system, because that creates angst in their mind, both economically and in terms of cost of energy. There is a place that you can go in solving these problems that speaks to all sides and does not radicalize important issues in this country. We saw that with the pandemic, which was incredible how masks got radicalized and politicized. We need to stop doing that, and we need to come together, and both sides have to address the concerns that the other side has on solutions for this country. You know, the unity that we have is really unity about what the problems are. It's bringing together solutions that can bring everybody together so that we can walk together and solve America's problems.
I think we have to start out by bringing you and Yvette together.
Yeah, well, she just said radical three times. You just called.
I just want to remind everyone that George Snuffleupagus is, in fact, the former press secretary of the Clintons when they were president. I just need to put that out there because everyone keeps forgetting. But look at this. Already, the second, before Biden's even, like, we were talking before the show, like, there's still, like, a weird chance that Trump could still get this through the courts. They're already like, oh, yeah, remember when we said that we were going to fix the environment? Well, we lied. Go screw off. We're going to do what we want. We need... And then they use those same buzzwords that you always hear. Oh, we're going to do what we can to bring people together around common issues. Like climate change. You know the thing that most Americans say is probably a big deal? Yeah, but I don't currently represent a state, but I'm going to act as if I do. Fossil fuels are good. We're the same as the Republican Party. I mean, different. We're different things. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, let's play the rest of that video because we might be hearing from the biggest peanut of them all, Rahm Emanuel.
The base of the Democratic Party, progressives, radical. That is not, I mean, that's a Republican talking point. Progressives want everyone to breathe clean air, even people in North and South Dakota. We want everyone to have health care, even people in rural areas and even people in working class white America. We want everyone to have a chance at the American dream. We're not saying leave people out. We're saying bring people in. But if parts of our party, when we bring home the bacon, as we did just yesterday, call us radical like Republicans did, that's not the starting place of a good family conversation.
One level set here is, one level set is Bill Clinton's budget in 1993, which was his economic plan, Barack Obama's health care bill, got over the top by two senators, different senators from Nebraska. You got to be able to, as Matt and others have, you got to be able to run in places and win in unexpected. That's number one. Number two,
you got to be
you said to George early on lessons. A red state, Florida, that voted for Trump, and I hate saying this red state.
Okay, let's play the next video because Rahm Emanuel's still talking.
I actually think Bernie and I don't agree, come from the same wing of the party. I think he, Elizabeth Warren, deserve a tremendous amount of credit. Unlike in 2016, they were very focused on a singular goal, winning. Our differences, we'll deal with that later, etc.
We'll deal with that later.
Now, Bernie and I, Elizabeth and I do get along, but forget that. They were incredibly pragmatic, where in 2016, Bernie did not do that for Hillary, and that's a statement they understood. We will work out progressive policy after we win. The election is the key.
Sarah Fagan.
So I think there's...
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here real quick. It doesn't surprise me seeing that progressives are being attacked by the neoliberal Democrats right now, especially Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Bernie Sanders, was it really worth it to help these people out after they keep on screwing you over time and time again? Like, no matter what he does, it will never be good enough. And remember, it wasn't too long ago, especially in 2016, where Bernie Sanders said, I didn't want the endorsement of Rahm Emanuel. You want to know why? Because he's corrupt to the core. Rahm Emanuel, under his time as mayor, you guys should not forget this. He allowed lead to be in Chicago's drinking water. His administration never did anything about it. His administration covered up the shooting of Laquan McDonald. His administration turned a blind eye to gentrification and real estate developers displacing countless Chicago residents from their homes. This man turned a blind eye to citywide corruption at the highest levels. And now we're getting advice from Rahm Emanuel. And then at the same time, too, he says, well, you got to win in certain areas. More Republican voters and conservatives agree with progressives and independents that we need Medicare for all, universal basic income, student debt forgiveness. I know, wow, we got a lot in common. I guess maybe instead of just using the old team blue, team red narrative talking points, because that stuff doesn't work, I guess maybe Rahm Emanuel hasn't really stepped outside his little swamp bubble in Washington, D.C., because he has no idea what's going on out there. And yet, these are the same pundits up here that tell us we can't change anything. We told you this early on during the primary and during the general election, that as soon as Biden were to theoretically win, which he has, I guess, at this point, again, anything can happen. Trump can legally challenge this if he wants to, that the Democrats were going to go after progressives and independents and do whatever they can to shame us, to silence us, to make sure that we never again have any kind of voice on the political field. Don't trust neoliberal Democrats. Don't trust neoconservative Republicans. At this point, we need to step away from the two-party system, because if we don't, we're going to constantly get more people like Rahm Emanuel telling us how we should be living instead of us telling them what we want. Remember, a lot of those people who are pundits used to be politicians, used to be public servants, but because they're owned by corporations, we're not getting anything. Everybody should be furious at somebody like Rahm Emanuel talking down to progressives and independents. This mayor, that former mayor, did so much damage to the city that he ran away after his attempt of running for a third term as mayor, because he knew his time was up and that people couldn't stand him. And I want to say this, and I know I have no power over this, Daniel, but I do apologize to the rest of the world that you have to deal with Rahm Emanuel now on your TV. But please, on behalf of the people of Chicago, you guys can keep him. Daniel?
So this is exactly, there's so many people still that I try and explain that Democrats and Republicans in office are the same people. They work for the same people. They work for the same money. They organize in the same way. They have the same objectives. And this is a slightly different base. This is the new fight. This is, I don't know if it's day one. I don't know when we stop Trump and start to redo an election. Doesn't matter. We are simply moving from fighting Trump acolytes in power to Biden acolytes in power. Nothing will get done, nothing, anything. But what do they talk about on TV? How Bernie Sanders was a good team player now, which is what we were having an issue with. Me and Kate have been saying ever since Bernie dropped out. Again, we have obviously a mixed relation personally with this, but we're going to keep it objective and say what we have always said. Bernie planted a forest or saplings for a forest. Didn't get us there. Should have fought harder. The reason that we know we're right is Rahm Emanuel agrees that this time he stopped right at a safe distance, meaning he could have gone farther, but he chose not to. But at the same time, Bernie doesn't deserve to be spoken to like that by someone like that who has caused so much devastation. Bernie tried to make a better future. He didn't succeed. It's very different from someone who destroyed the lives of thousands of people in Chicago, destroyed the lives of Americans as chief of staff in various administrations. Rahm Emanuel is everything wrong with the Democratic Party. He is everything that we need to fight, everything that we need to resist, everything we need to change. Rahm Emanuel is a perfect representation of the Democratic Party at their core, just like Mika Brzezinski and whatever his name is on Morning Joe are the perfect representation of centrism on TV. These are people that need to be replaced with people who will try and help people like us, people in worse conditions than us, who will actually build an American future rather than profit off its destruction.
Yep. And again, for everyone, remember, Rahm Emanuel and his mayoral administration did nothing about the lead that's in our drinking water. You know how Flint, Michigan doesn't have clean drinking water? Neither does the city of Chicago, and Rahm Emanuel could have done something about it, but he chose not to. He chose to do nothing about the rampant corruption that's happening in City Hall and across the city, the rampant police corruption and police brutality that's happening all over the city of Chicago. He did nothing about the gentrification that's happening all over the city of Chicago. He doesn't care. But never forget that during the March primary in 2016, Hillary Clinton said to Rahm Emanuel, he's doing a good job. That video is out there, too.
And by the way, I want to give, for the next 4 years, a nice goal that we can all reach. Right now, and this is actually specifically by Allie's comment, I felt really uneasy on Saturday here in Chicago. I've never seen people celebrate someone losing rather than someone winning more in my life. I think that's this is in a sense is a goal we need to be moving towards, is actually realizing the power of that statement. Biden doesn't really have a base.
Nope.
He has people that elected him because they were convinced he was better than Trump. When Biden begins failing, which he's going to, like immediately once he gets into office, we have a really good ability to fill in that vacuum over the next 4 years. And I think that's exactly what we're going to be focusing on doing over the next 4 years. Is for Trump, it was trying to convince people it doesn't matter which side you're fighting. We've done that prep work. Now it's going to be a little continuation of that, because it's going to be very apparent. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be able to point out to all your older relatives and whatever that watch TV that you're like, they're really saying the same thing with a different tone. Isn't that interesting? People were talking about how the countdown clock, the second that Trump's gone, mysteriously disappears. Not a big issue anymore. No need to fear. No need to worry. Biden's good. You'll see, just like with Reagan. We need to fill the vacuum. There are going to be people that are looking for leadership. There are going to be midterms coming up. Some of you need to be in that process, both in the inside and outside. We must hit them from every angle. And I actually think we have a really good shot, even more so in 2016, and even more so this year, to really put progressives on the map, real progressives, that are not going to speak to the Democratic Party, that aren't going to accept leadership roles to calm them down, people that are going to walk in as agitators and stay agitators.
Yeah.